Hi there. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important skills that you can bring to your kitchen. That's how to use a knife correctly in the kitchen, and how using a sharp knife as opposed to a dull knife can keep you from hurting yourself. Two special knives that you can use in the kitchen would be an 8-inch chef's knife and a 4-inch paring knife that you can use for more delicate cuts. We're going to show you how to use, cut, and care for your kitchen knives, and how buying whole chickens, whole fruits, and vegetables in your store can save you some money. Before I get started, let me wash my hands. And once your hands are dry, it keeps you from having the knife slip in your hand. I'm also going to show you how to properly hold a knife. So you want to take your thumb and your index finger and grip it on the blade, but not too firm, but comfortably. Then wrapping the rest of your hand around it, like so. What you also want to not do is hold it for the back handle. It doesn't give you as much grip and control over the knife. All right? And the same thing with the paring knife. If you want to, you can hold it the same way and grip it the same. All right? A dull knife gives you more of a annoying feel to it where you can't really use it. So that's why people get hurt a lot when they're using dull knives, because they have to use much more force. But if you use a sharper knife, you can cut through much easily. Today we're going to show you how to cut a few things. We're going to show you how to cut a tomato. We're going to show you how to cut an onion. Right now we'll just start off with the tomato. We took it out right here, and we're going to use the paring knife. Then we're going to cut it down. We'll do a small chop. So what you want to do is you just want to slice it. Get a sharper blade for a chop. This is what you would use in like stews and soups and vegetables and stocks. You really want to try and keep your fingers away from the knife, tucked under, so you don't cut yourself. I'll do it right here with this one right here. So you really want to have it where your fingers are underneath and not closer to the blade, where you just guide your fingers where you want your knife to go, and you don't hurt yourself like that. So that's the tomato. What I also like to do is I used to like to use two cutting boards, one for vegetables, one for meats, so you don't really cross-contaminate and get raw juices if you're not cooking it properly. With the onion, we'll cut it in half, so we'll have a flat cutting surface, and then we'll cut the ends off, and then we'll peel off the skin. What you really want to do sometimes when you're cutting and cooking, you just want to have a bowl for your scraps. If you want to use it for composting, if you want to use it for your stocks as well. Then we'll do a rough chop. What I'll do is I'll just cut the onion in half, but keeping it together. And depending on how big you want your cut, that's how far you would go. This will be, again, a rough cut or a chop. And the size that you want it will be a medium size. We can also do a mince. A mince is a smaller cut used in some recipes. Sometimes you would see a mince on ginger, a mince on garlic, or a mince on onion. What you would do is you would slice it first. Keeping it all together, and then start your mince, a very fine mince. What you want to do when you're cutting is you really want to keep the tip of the knife on the board, not letting it leave the board. A lot of times people just take it and they go up and down, but a safer cut with just a rocking motion. Like so. If you ever want to prevent the crying in the kitchen, what you can do is you can leave it out for a little while. Your onions can be left out if you want to soak them in a little bit of milk as well. It doesn't take away from the flavor, but what it does do is keep you from crying. So, ladies, gentlemen, no crying in the kitchen. I'll go with that here. Again, clean as you go, wiping down your board, just in case you don't want the flavors to mix. What we will do right now, upon request, is I'll show you how to cut a bell pepper. I have a nice way of doing it. What I do is I cut the four corners off, like so. Cut the edge off, and again, the cuts are the same. The mince would be the same. If you want to do a chop, you just cut it and then chop it. Again, the rocking motion so the knife doesn't leave the board. For your paring knife, for more delicate cuts, if you want to just take the meat out of your pepper, you can use it for that as well. And then we'll do more delicate cut. We'll do a smaller cut, almost like a brunoise, which is a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. We're gonna go again with the mince. Again, keeping your fingers as a guide. And then, all right, and with the mince, you just want to control it. Since it is a mince, it really doesn't matter what the cut is, because what you really want to do is, if you cut everything evenly and at the same size, you won't have issues as far as one thing being cooked, one thing being undercooked. So a mince really gets it nice and on top. And right now, with the rocking motion, it just gives you more power and a more steady hand to mince. And you don't have to worry about cutting yourself when you're mincing. A lot of times in the kitchen, people cut themselves because they're so excited about the cut that they forget that their fingers are there. And before I forget, underneath my cutting board, the reason why it stayed so still is because there's a damp rag underneath. You can use a towel, but as you see here, if you use a towel, it doesn't give you a steady surface. So what you want to do is you just want to take a damp paper towel and put it underneath your board, and it gives you a sturdy working surface and it doesn't go anywhere. Let's talk for a few seconds about sharpening your knives. You can go to some kitchen stores and they can sharpen your knives for a small fee or even for free. And you should do that at least once a year. But you can do it at home as well. You can go to the store and get a few knife sharpening kits. You can either use your steel or you can use a knife sharpener. And what you want to do is you just want to run your blade on it a few times. Make sure it's even. What you want to do is you want to feel it. And before you use your knife again, please make sure you wash it so you get all the steel off of it. All right, so let's rinse it off. Let's wipe it down. Because using a sharp knife in your kitchen can really prevent you from cutting yourself or slipping. Because like I said before, dull knives are one of the most dangerous knives in the kitchen, because you have to use much more force, and that's how it slips, and that's how you have accidents. So that's one way of sharpening your knives. So make sure you want to do that. And also with your steel. The steel can be difficult, but if you want to do it, just do it slow. Keep it away from yourself. And what you want to do is you want to angle it, 45-degree angle, and come down all the way to the tip. Make sure you go back and forth so the blade stays even. And then once you get good, you can go a little bit faster. And those are two ways that you can sharpen your knives at home.